everyone, welcome back to Worship Time for Under Fives with me, Karen. As always, it's so good to see you all. Well, first of all, I have to say a big thank you to all of you who sent me a photograph of yourselves dressed up as a superhero. They were brilliant. I loved seeing all your costumes, all the capes and the masks and the princess dresses and the outfits like the firemen. They were fabulous. So what I've done is I've put them all into a video for you here. So have a little watch, see if you can find yourself, and get your mum or dad, if they're with you, to read out the words, and then that will hopefully remind you of all the things we've been saying about being a superhero for God. So here it is. Weren't those pictures great? They were fantastic. So let's see if we can remember what we said about being a superhero for God. See if you can finish my sentence. We said that you don't need a... what have I got? Mask, that's right. We don't need a mask. And we said that we don't need a... cape. Well done. We don't need a mask or a cape to be a superhero for God, because God chooses ordinary people like me and you to do extraordinary things for him. Last week we read the Bible story about Gideon and about how God helped him to defeat a massive army. And our story today is about another superhero, but just like Gideon, he wasn't strong and he wasn't a very important grown-up. Actually, this person was still a young boy, and this boy was called David. So here is the story. There was once a small boy called David who had lots of big brothers. His brothers were soldiers in the army. But they were really frightened because a giant bad soldier called Goliath wanted to fight the king. There's a picture of Goliath. But it was the army's job to keep the king safe. And nobody wanted to fight Goliath. They were too scared. But one day, David was taking food to his brothers and heard Goliath the giant shout, "Who's going to come and fight me?" David went straight to the king and said, I will defeat Goliath for you." The king laughed. "How could you, a small boy, beat Goliath?" David said, "My Lord God will help me." So his brothers dressed David in the soldier's armour, but it was too big, so David took it off. Instead, he picked up his sling and 5 stones and went out to the field to find Goliath. Goliath took one look at David and laughed. "Who is this little boy who's come to fight me?" "I am David, and I come to you in the name of the Lord." And he took out his pocket one of his little stones and put it into his sling. He circled the sling above his head, and after 1, 2, 3, the stone flew into the air and hit Goliath right in the middle of his head. And just like that, Goliath fell to the ground. "Hooray!" they all cheered. And David said, "It was my God who defeated Goliath. The Lord is my strength." So children, David wasn't strong and he wasn't a mighty man. He was just a boy who knew that God was with him and that God's strength was going to help him. He trusted God, knowing that he would go before him. And that's all that God asks us to do, to trust and to listen to him so that we can help him and his plan to cover the whole world with his love. So children, just like we've been saying, we can all be superheroes for God. We just need to listen and trust him. And then, who knows, we'll do some wonderful things to help our world and to help everybody see God's love. So, let's say a prayer together. Here we go. Dear God, thank you that you love us all so much and we can do amazing things for you. Help us to trust and listen to you so that we can be a great friend to everybody. Amen. And children, if you want to do something at home to help you remember the story of David and Goliath, then you can have a go at maybe making a picture. And I've made a picture here of David's 5 little stones. I've made a little bag and I found 5 different shapes for my stones and decorated my bag and put them in. On the video link just below here, there is a little sheet that you can print out if you want to of David's little sack, and you can have a go at making his 5 little stones in his bag. Anyway, lovely to see you all. Thank you so much for your photos. They were awesome. See you next week. Bye.